Today's world, we are obsessed with success. We see all these stories and feel like that could be us, but we forget what it takes to actually get there. Struggle, setbacks, pain, and dark times. Everyone loves a success story, but no one wants to go through the actual struggle that creates one. What if I told you that our darkest moments are actually setting us up for our brightest days? What you saw in that last video is LeBron James and the Miami Heat celebrating their 2012 championship. And even though it seems like a team just celebrating their accomplishment, there was a lot more to the story. The truth is, we wouldn't have gotten this moment if LeBron James didn't have his worst series on the biggest stage back in 2011.
The Dallas Mavericks are NBA champions. A stunning ending to one of the more compelling seasons in NBA history.
How would you say you play in the NBA Finals?
Not great at all. Not the way I know how to play the game of basketball on a high level. You know, I'm out there to be a game changer, and I didn't make enough game-changing plays. I just know I didn't play well. I could have played down the stretch better.
How did that affect you personally?
Probably one of the hardest times of my life. You know, after the finals, I sat in my room for 2 weeks, did absolutely nothing, talked to absolutely nobody.
As you can see, before the success, there is struggle. Before the triumph, there is pain. And that's the part we often forget. You see, back in 2011, LeBron James made a league-altering decision. He decided to leave Cleveland to join forces with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh in Miami, forming the Big Three. Overnight, he went from one of the most beloved players to the most hated. The entire NBA world criticized him for taking the easy way out instead of grinding it out with his hometown team in Cleveland. With all eyes on him in Miami, the Heat were expected to dominate, and no one faced more pressure than LeBron himself. Now, let's fast forward to the 2011 NBA Finals. The Miami Heat faced the Dallas Mavericks and were the clear favorites. This was supposed to be LeBron's moment, his chance to finally get that NBA championship. Most people didn't think Dirk and the Mavs stood a chance, but they couldn't have been more wrong. When people look back on why the Heat lost, the blame often falls on LeBron's performance, and rightfully so. He averaged just 17.8 points per game, the lowest in any final series of his career. But the moment that truly defined his collapse, Game 4. LeBron scored just 8 points. The whole series he looked hesitant and mentally checked out, while on the opposite side of the court, Dirk and the Mavs were locked in. The Heat went on to lose the series in 6 games, and Dirk Nowitzki was named the Finals MVP. The entire world turned against LeBron even more at that point, calling him a choker and saying he wasn't built for the bright lights. Many believe that even with a great team around him, he just didn't have what it took to get it done. LeBron's 2011 Finals performance completely shattered his reputation. He had one choice though, let the criticism define him or rise above it, and he chose the latter. LeBron came back better than ever that next season. He would go on to average 27.1 points, 7.9 rebounds, and 6.2 assists per game and won MVP that season. But the real test would come in the Eastern Conference Finals against the Boston Celtics. The Heat found themselves down 3-2 and facing elimination, and many, and I mean many people believe LeBron was about to fold again and that the Celtics would send him home and deny him another shot at a title. But in Game 6, with Miami's season on the line, LeBron delivered one of the greatest playoff performances ever. He dropped 45 points, 15 rebounds, and 5 assists, and just by his face, you could tell he was locked all the way in. The Heat forced to Game 7 and would eventually go on to the finals. In the finals, LeBron would face a young OKC team led by Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden. This time, Bron wasn't playing around. He averaged 28.6 points, 10.2 rebounds, and 7.4 assists per game, and led Miami to a victory in 5 games. He finally won his first NBA championship and was named Finals MVP. LeBron had did it. He had finally silenced the doubters. The man who was once labeled a choker had become a champion while having one of the greatest NBA seasons ever. But LeBron isn't the only one who has been counted out. In music, we also saw something very similar happen to Gunna. One moment he was at the top of the game, the next, everything came crashing down.
Young Thug is scheduled to appear in court today in Georgia on gang-related charges. The rapper, whose real name is Jeffrey Lamar Williams, was one of 28 people named in an indictment in that state. He's charged with conspiracy to violate the state's RICO Act and participation in criminal street gang activity. The indictment also includes fellow rapper Gunna, whose real name is Sergio Giovanni Kitchens.
In 2022, Gunna was hotter than ever. In January of that year, he dropped DS Forever, going toe-to-toe with The Weeknd's Don FM, and he outsold him that first week. And that's huge because The Weeknd is one of the biggest out. But just a few months later, in May, he would hit rock bottom. Gunna, Young Thug, and several other YSL members were arrested in a RICO case, with prosecutors labeling YSL as a violent street gang responsible for criminal activity in Atlanta. Gunna was locked up without bond for over 6 months, despite there being little to no real evidence tying him to any crimes. As time went on, it became very evident that Gunna was not going to be released anytime soon. So in December of 2022, Gunna took an offer plea to secure his freedom. That meant he maintained his innocence while accepting the plea as being in his best interest. However, when a video of him in court surfaced of him confirming YSL was a gang, the internet quickly turned on him. Many labeled him a snitch, even though no evidence ever proved he cooperated against Young Thug or YSL. Frequent collaborators like Lil Baby and Lil Durk dissed himself. Even a producer like Weezy called him out, and many of his closest industry relationships fell apart.
What's the relationship with you and Gunna right now?
I don't got no relationship, you know?
I know Thug says what Wham says goes, but if Thug says, hey, I'm gonna get in the studio, I'm gonna make some music with Gunna, baby, I want you to participate, would you?
I don't see that happening. No, I'm just saying, like, I want you to participate. I don't know what nobody else would do, you know what I'm saying? But just as far as me, you know what I'm saying?
Only a select few decided to still rock with Gunna, for instance, Turbo. Gunna responded to the hate with the best way he knows how, and that's by focusing on his music. He stayed out the public eye and locked in completely. In June 2023, he finally made his return with A Gift and a Curse. This album was very different from any other Gunna album because it had no features, no industry backing. It was just real music. This album was literally Gunna against the world. Anytime I feel like I'm going through something and I feel like it's literally me against the world, I turn this album on because this album perfectly captures those vibes. On this album, he addresses everything on here. And you can really feel the emotions that Gunna was feeling through certain songs on this album. For instance, on Back at It and Back to the Moon, he shows and makes it clear that I'm still here and I'm still that guy. On a song like I Don't Know No More, he captures that inner conflict and he doesn't know how to feel about everything. On Turn Your Back, that was all about feeling betrayed while I Was Just Thinking, he reflects on everything he's been through up to this point. And finally, on the last song, Alright, which is my personal favorite song, is a perfect message to end the album. That even though he's going through all this, he's going through this storm, at the end of the day, he will sail through the storm and he will be alright. He will see brighter days. Even without the industry support, A Gift and a Curse debuted at 3 on the Billboard 200, and Fuck You Mean became the song of the summer. That song was everywhere and it dominated the charts, proving that Gunna couldn't be counted out even when the world was against him. And if I'm really looking at it, Gunna is now bigger than he ever was. Cause that following year, he dropped another album called One of One, and that sold even more than A Gift and a Curse did first week. Gunna and LeBron both hit rock bottom, but instead of staying there, they decided to use it as fuel. Oftentimes, when we are struggling, we ask ourselves why this is happening, and we look at it as something bad. But what if we shift our thinking and we think of it as, what is this teaching me? What if we look at it as struggles aren't meant to break me, but they're actually helping me build into something greater? To be honest, bro, I've been going through a lot to start off this year, you know what I'm saying? Just a lot of struggles, a lot of annoyings, a lot of BS happening. And oftentimes, bro, I just didn't want to keep going, bro. It felt like a lot. But I am starting to see the brighter days. It's starting to get better again. And I really made this video to remind myself, like, dude, times will change. Seasons come and go. Things will get better. And to anyone out there, bro, if you are in a dark time, bro, I'm telling you, it's gonna get better. You know what I'm saying? I heard this quote from a wise man. Actually, he's not a man, he's a koala, from Sing. He said this: the good thing about hitting rock bottom is the only way is up. No matter what you're going through, keep pushing. During this time of my life, I developed a phrase that I live by, and that phrase is keep overly pushing. Always overly pushing. Pushing is not enough. You gotta overly push. You know what I'm saying? Your brighter days are still ahead. I'm telling you, you're gonna get through it. It will get better. Cause even when it feels like life is against you, it's really just setting you up for something greater.